All right, welcome to our weekly Forex forecast, and this is for trading for the week of February 1st to the 5th, 2021. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. So as this opens up, big thing that we have seen in the markets recently has been all about GameStop here. Markets have been crazy. So it seems like there's one thing after other that's been hitting the markets. Anyways, the GameStop here, what's going on with GameStop is a bunch of, it's basically um, retail traders versus hedge funds. So what they have with GameStop, just a quick overview for anybody if you don't know it. Basically, hedge funds had put huge short positions on GameStops, and some retail traders, actually before the retail traders got in, um, there was the guy who I forget his name, the movie The Big Short. He did that securities. He did shorted the what do you call it? Mortgage-backed securities back in 2008. So this guy here, basically, he put out a comment about that, and as a result of that, a lot of people jumped in, and then retail traders got in, and basically everybody pushed I think he got out, but all the retail traders were still in the trade and pushed the price up. And that caused a lot of hedge funds to basically close out their short positions. And when they close out the short positions, the only way they can do that is by buying the stock, which pushed the market price even higher. All in all, basically, hedge funds suffered millions of dollars in losses because of the short positions that they had. And now this has created a lot of controversy in the market, because now there was a trading. Robinhood had to stop trading, and many other brokers also stopped trading some stocks as a result of what was going on in the market. But it created a lot of volatility and fear in the markets, and they had to cover short positions. So craziness in the markets last week, and this is where it was all coming from. So expect more craziness this week as well. It may not be from just GameStop, but overall, I think there will still be some fear in the market, and there will be some readjustments of positions and stuff. Now, there have been calls into SEC to actually look into the situation from everybody's perspective, not just for retail traders or on behalf of hedge funds, but for everybody. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't think there will be any sort of changes in terms of regulations anytime soon, but something to just keep in mind as we are trading. But overall, it was GameStop that caused a lot of problems, or the havoc in the market, because of hedge funds needing to cover their short positions. So a bit of a David versus Goliath story there. But anyway, so let's dive into our calendar here in terms of what's coming up. On Monday, we have PMI numbers out of the Eurozone. So if the PMI numbers, these are precursors, these will tell us how what kind of retail sales to expect. Basically, if the manufacturers are buying it, then they're expecting to sell their products. So right now, if we see these numbers come in positive, that would give a lift to the currency. So we have PMI numbers for the US, we have PMI numbers here for the Eurozone. So these will be important numbers to keep in mind. And then we also have Reserve Bank of Australia statement here coming up. So at this point, not looking for a change. They are already at super low interest rates. So the commentary is what will play an important role. So if they are hopeful about the future past COVID, so that will be what we will focus on. Basically, what we want to, or what the market is looking to hear from the reserve banks, is that they will actually continue supporting the market. And if that's the message, I would not expect too much of a change. On Tuesday here, we do have employment data out of New Zealand. The CPI numbers out of New Zealand were really good, which had pushed New Zealand dollar higher. And if the employment numbers are good here, that is going to be good as well. So in terms of when should you uh, basically in terms of trading here around the news events, when the news events are really important, I don't suggest trading around those. So basically wait for things to settle down about 30 minutes or so, and then it would be a good idea to get into trades, but not during, especially when you have things like rate statements and stuff like that. These numbers are important and they do move the market. So just something to be mindful of, not getting into the middle of it, because markets can get quite volatile. On Wednesday here, more PMI numbers out of the Eurozone. So we have final services PMI number here from UK as well as Eurozone. Important numbers here. We also have ADP non-farm employment numbers on Wednesday. So these are precursors to our non-farm payroll numbers, which will be on Friday. So again, important numbers here, even though it's not marked in red, I would treat it as red, because then that sets the expectations for non-farm payroll number, which actually is a pretty important event. On Thursday here, big big day here for for UK. So for Bank of England here, they haven't really um, so what to watch out for here would be any kind of comments in regards to negative interest rates. So now that we are in the whole post-Brexit era, how is the bank going to manage stuff? If they talk about negative interest rates, that will be bad for pound. If they say we have no need for negative interest rates, they are feeling confident about the way the things are even after Brexit, then pound is likely to go up. All right. So other than that, we have Reserve Bank of Australia, Governor Lau speaking. And then on Friday, this is critical time here. Expect a lot of volatility in the market during this time. So we have employment data for Canadian dollar, and we have Bank of England, Governor Bailey speaking, although this here will be more important. But anytime we have an actual statement, that does tend to move the market. So write everything all at the same time. And of course, we have non-farm payroll employment numbers, which will again be very important. So watch out during this time. Expect a lot of volatility for pound, Canadian dollar, and US dollar. So something to watch out for. All right, so let's go on to our charts now. Okay, so starting the week off, or starting off with the euro dollar here. So we have seen price basically be range bound here for the last little bit. Over the last 2 weeks here, we see that price hasn't really done much. It's been trading in a range. Now it did go into support here, as we can see from the weekly chart. Price came into support. This is where it had struggled previously, and now it's holding. So this is right now, I'm going to say neutral of this one. I would look for a retest of the high of the range. And this is where the decision will be. If it doesn't go through, then we are looking for that next move lower back towards the support level here into the range. But if it does cross over, this is when it will turn bullish, and then we'll be targeting 123 and potentially 123.50 as the targets, but it's not quite ready yet. So right now I'm looking for a move higher towards the top of the range. And if it holds below 1.22, we are back into the range. So at this point, neutral bias for euro dollar. Overall, it's still looking bullish. So it did similar, it had a similar move here as well. See, price was trading in a range, and then it held, and then finally went higher. But this one stayed here for weeks. So right now we are only into second week, and right now the first test will be, can it get through the resistance? If it doesn't, it can get stuck in this range for longer. So we'll keep an eye on that. For now, neutral bias, looking for a retest of 1.2200. Pound dollar here, this is looking neutral as well. As we can see, it's into important support resistance level here. Price is into this area at 1.37 level. So at this point, this is where it's getting stuck. So if it doesn't go through, so we do have a neutral candle close. Price has been making its way higher. Overall, the move is still bullish here, but many times after a neutral candle, we can see a decline. So I'm looking for a retest of the high of last week's candle. And if it fails, we could see a decline. So bias is neutral right now. And first target here would be 1.3750. And if it fails, then we will look for a turnaround. So neutral candles here can be precursors to turnaround. So we'll watch out for that. Neutral bias for now. And I am going to leave my targets in place here. Depending on which way this will break, we'll continue in that direction. So neutral for the time being. Aussie dollar here, this one has pulled back. As we can see, price has been coming down over the last few weeks here. So there has been this downward trend here, and it's been slowly making its way down. So we've seen lower highs, continuously lower highs here. So this is where we are currently. And in this case, I'm looking for a bit of a move to the downside. So it does have some downward momentum here, but the momentum going up has been much better than the momentum going lower here. So in this case, this may not be completely bearish at this point. We may get slightly more, a bit more of a pullback, but it hasn't quite turned bearish yet. It doesn't have that momentum. So at this point, I am looking for price to drop back into 0.7590, and if it goes through that, I'd be looking for this 0.7500 level, but then we may see a return from here. So like I said, not completely bearish, but in the short term we may see a bit of a drop here. So bias is neutral to bearish. 0.7590 is the first target, 0.7500 is the next target here. So bearish bias for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar, this one is looking neutral. It's still holding that support resistance level here. And within that, it's just been trading sideways in a range. So overall, bias for all of these still remains positive in the long term. But right now, we may start to see declines here. So I will watch out for that. Again, looking for a retest of the high at 0.7250. And if it comes, if it doesn't go through, I'm looking for a move back into the range. So this is still looking range bound at this point. So bias is neutral, looking for a move between 0.7250 and 0.7100. Dollar CAD here, this one has also been trading sideways here. As we can see, price hasn't really been able to do a whole lot. So this is where we are for last several weeks here. With price has been stuck. It did go test the high at this point. We may see basically a range bound move here as well. So neutral bias, looking for price to trade between 1.2870 and 1.2620. So this is also neutral. Looks like market is just waiting. All right, so euro pound here, euro pound also into support, but over the last 2 weeks, even though it has moved lower slightly, it doesn't seem to have the same type of momentum that it did previously here. So we could see a retest and then a bounce. So I will watch out for that. So right now, neutral to bearish bias. First target here is 0.8820. Only if it gets through that, then we'll look at 0.8780 level. So neutral to bearish bias here for euro pound. Euro Swiss franc here, we are back here. As we can see, price hasn't really been doing anything. This has been stuck in a range here as well. Price has bounced off of the support level. So now looking for a move back towards the high of the range at 1.0880. So bias here is neutral to bullish. So I'm expecting price to trade within this range. So bullish bias within the range here for Euro Swiss franc. Pound Swiss franc here, this one is heading higher here. As we can see, price has been steadily moving higher. So in this case, we did have a neutral candle close, but it couldn't turn. So looking for price to go into this high at 1.2260. So bias here is bullish for pound Swiss franc. Dollar Swiss franc, this one is still stuck in a range. It's been stuck in this range for several weeks. Now at the end of the week, we do have a bullish candle, but we had a bullish candle here and here. It's still in a range. If it doesn't go through, I will look for a move back into the range. So bias is neutral for this one here as well. Pound yen here, this has been steadily making its way higher. Last week we did have a bullish candle close, so now we have a solid bullish close for the week. So looking for a further move higher here, and we are potentially going to test the highs here. 145 is the target, so bullish bias for pound yen. Euro yen here, this one is also testing the highs. It hasn't broken through the resistance yet. It's been pushing into it, and this is the range it's been trading it in over the last couple of, or last few weeks, I should say. Now it's right into the resistance, and it was into the resistance here as well. So watch out for that. It could turn around just like it did here. So bias is bullish for now because it's pushing into the resistance and it may go higher. It's been holding the support level here. The longer it holds the support level, the higher the chances that it will go higher. So bias right now is bullish. I will add a caution here though. If it doesn't go through it, if it holds below it, we are looking for a move back into the range. Right now it's still range bound, so we have to wait for it to get through before we target the 128.50 level, but that is the next level. So bias here is bullish for euro yen. Dollar yen here looking bullish. Bias is bullish still. It's actually broken out of this range that it was stuck in for a bit, right into the next level of resistance here. Looking bullish. I will look for a bit of a pullback, and then we will look for a follow through move here. Now, keep in mind, there is resistance right where it is currently. So it would have to go through this for it to continue higher. So just a little bit of a caution there, but bias is bullish. 105.70 is the next target. So bullish bias here for dollar yen. Aussie yen here looking neutral here. It's still holding the support here though, so it could go higher. Now, we may get something like this. So watch out for a bit of a drop, but 2 weeks in a row, it hasn't done anything. Price opened and closed at exactly the same place. Neutral bias here, but the longer it holds, the more likely it's going higher. So neutral bias here for now, but overall still holding that bullishness here, bullish bias. So I would look for a retest of the 79.50 level. If it holds, look out for that leg higher. New Zealand yen here, this one is already making its way higher. As we can see, price held the support level here. It came to test it, held, and now I will look for a continuation higher. Just a word of caution though, we did have this bullish candle close here before it dropped, so it's not completely, didn't turn bullish. I mean, didn't turn bearish. It became range bound, and now we're looking for that break. But keep in mind the 75.50 level. If it doesn't go through, watch out for that move back into the range. So that's the only problem with these range bound moves. Anytime price is pushing into the high or the low, we have to wait for price to give us direction that it's breaking out before chasing the move higher. So watch out for that. Bias is bullish. Next target is 76.70 for New Zealand yen. CAD yen here, this one is range bound here, hasn't really done a whole lot. We do see a rejection of the support here, but again, it would have to break through the resistance for it to continue. Once we see that break, then we will look for another leg higher into 82.85 level. But until then, this is neutral. It is still range bound. So we'll wait for that breakout before following through with this one. All right, so let's take a look at commodities here. Silver making a break out for the highs here, right into the top of the range. This is the range it's been trading in. So looking at the weekly chart, as we can see, big move higher. So at this point, I'm looking at this 27.90. That would be the target. But overall, it's within this broader range now, and now we are looking for targets higher in the range. But watch out for this resistance. This is where it turned from previously, so we could have a similar reaction here. We could see price go all the way into the resistance, and then it may turn around. So watch out for that. Bias is bullish. 27.90 is the first target, and only if it goes through that, then we'll go into 28.85. So bullish bias for silver. Gold here hasn't really fared as well. It has been stuck in a range over the last several days here. And as we can see, we have a neutral candle close. It's still within this range. Now we could see a move lower here towards the support level at 1803, but overall it's still stuck in this range. And we need to see a break first before we can look for any sort of trend here. So neutral bias for gold, expecting it to trade between 1874 and 1828 here. Oil here. Oil has also been sideways here. It is looking a little, starting to look a little toppish now, which means we could see a drop back down. So watch out for that. It has rejected the high several times. So we may get a move lower here. So target here is 49.25. So neutral to bearish bias here for oil. Copper here. Copper has also been making a move lower here. It has this slightly downward bias. So this is what I would watch out for here. Now let's take a look at the weekly here. So this is what we have in terms of the weekly. Just keep in mind, price was bearish here, but it couldn't break it last time either. So if it gets stuck here, we are basically looking for a range bound move again. So bias right now is bearish, but watch out for this support level. This is the bottom of the range. It can turn around and go back up. So for this continuation, we need to see a break, and then we have this big move that can get filled here. So that was quite a sharp move, and these sharp moves create vacuums just like this one did. Big sharp drop and then it comes back. So this was back in the March, but just to kind of let you know that these big moves can get filled once the price starts to topple, but it won't. It can continue on like this and even go higher. And this is why we have to wait for those breaks. A lot of things trading sideways right now, looking for direction. So we cannot get ahead of it. So right now, looking for a retest of 3.45. If it goes through, then we'll target lower towards 3.36. But until then, this is range bound here. And once it bounces off, then we'll basically look for a move back into the range here. Bitcoin here. Bitcoin current market price has dropped, and thanks Salvatore here putting it in the chat at 32.8 thousand. So 32,800 is where it sits right now. So it's still trading in this range here. It's been going back and forth. Market has been volatile, so Bitcoin has been volatile along with the markets as well. Right now, I'm still expecting it to trade within this range. It has been stuck here for last 4 weeks here. So still looking for this range bound move, expect more volatility. And then we will, so right now it doesn't have direction. It is still range bound. So neutral bias for Bitcoin. All right, stock markets here. Craziness in the stock market. A lot of this had to do with the short squeeze, and now the big boys are getting scared, or not scared. I shouldn't say scared. They're not really scared, but they're getting concerned. The investors are getting concerned, and that could mean that some people may be looking to pull profits. We have seen a huge move up in the market, so that means a lot of people have made a lot of money here. And when there is uncertainty in the market, investors will be looking to take some money out. So when investors are looking to take money out, which means they're selling the stocks, which means the market may be dropping, right? So keep that in mind. We do have a nice bearish candle close here. So in this case, I will look for a pullback here, and we could see a further drop here. So bias is bearish and target is 36.50 here. and then we will move lower here into 3600. So right now we need to see, can the market jitters be eased or not? So right now, bearish bias, looking for a pullback and then a further drop into 3650. So bearish bias for S&P 500. Now, do expect volatility into this coming week as well, because there will be a lot of, like I said, nervousness and uncertainty in the market. So overall, the bullishness hasn't gone away. I think the sentiment is still bullish in the market, but expect some profit taking because of what's going on in the market with GameStop and everything else. So some investors will be thinking, okay, things are going crazy, so we need to take some profits, which is very normal. All right, so for Nasdaq as well, bias is bearish here. I will look for a drop back into 12,720 and potentially lower into 12,420. So bearish bias for Nasdaq as well. Dow Jones, same thing here. Nice, it did nice pullbacks and stuff. So bearish bias here, big drop. Same thing here, just nervousness in the markets right now. So expect profit taking, watch out for pullbacks, especially towards 30,400 here. And then we could see a further drop here. Because of profit taking. So 29,420 is the target here for Dow Jones. DAX here also moving along with our US markets here. We are right into the support level here, so watch out, but looking bearish at the moment. So next target here is 13,300. So basically what I'm looking for here would be a bit of a pullback and then a drop further here. So something like that. So bearish bias, 13,290 is the first target, and then 13,000 is the second target for DAX. And then FTSE here, big drop here in FTSE as well. A lot of nervousness, like I said, in the market. So right now, looking for price to drop further, looking for some follow through basically in this one. But like I said, expect markets to be volatile. A lot of emotions in the market right now. And with that, we can see volatility. So this is the type of move I'm expecting at this point. So bearish bias here, and target is 62.45. All right, and Nikkei here. Nikkei also did a drop, and looks like this one could drop further as well. So we have nice bearish candle close. I will look for a pullback. Again, for this one here as well, 28,110. And then if it holds, we're looking for a further drop here. So bias is bearish for Nikkei as well. All right, so that's it for today. You guys have a wonderful trading week. I will be back on Monday with our daily analysis. Bye for now.